You're always
We
late.
roll
Ladies
across time.
and
You're
gentlemen,
late.
welcome to
Every time.
the
Every
FinTech
time. We were all
Friday
here.
show.
This guy cannot keep a schedule.
No, you can't hit.
I was the
go
first one
live.
in the show. We were waiting on Roy. Roy arrived.
Roy was here. What are you talking about?
Blaming me?
Every week blames it on somebody new.
This was
I
Roy.
was
You were the
literally
last one in.
sipping tea.
Hopefully everyone's doing well. Welcome to the chaos that is the FinTech Friday show with 4 characters, 1 normal, 3 guys that I have to sort of manage during this show. And those people are Roy Crossroads, Roy from Crossroads. Sorry, I need to remember the way that the earnings calls go. Tevis of Fundamentals of Investing podcast, and Stephen Fiorillo, the great and powerful. How you guys doing?
Okay, it's been a roller coaster this week. How are you guys?
Yeah, are we surviving or
I agree with what Trey said. Hello, fellow poors. Yeah, we're all broke, except for Steve. He's still a multimillionaire, but the rest of us are all broke.
I mean, haven't I taught you guys anything with freaking diversification?
Yeah. So this is where the Pokemon cards and the gold bricks come in handy.
S&P 500, man, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. Can you guys believe? And by the way, actually, you know what? I'm not going to preface this. Can you guys believe that it's the SoFi fireside chat that happened this week?
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
this week was jam packed. It barely. I had to double check. I'm like, yeah, it was this week, right? Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, Nebius reported earnings this week, like the worst post-earnings performance in the next 4 days. Just got rocked.
I bought it.
Tanner started a position in Nebius.
Yep. Good time
Okay.
to as well.
Why did you start a position in Nebius?
Yeah, we can start with that.
Every single time that they get capacity, that they are immediately deploying it, their customers, even Meta, for example, are coming to them. And the reason why the size of that deal was only roughly $3 billion was just purely on the amount of capacity that they can find. So I think people are worried about the spend and debt and stuff like this from many of the data center names, but really it's just because they know that every dollar that they spend is going to return $8 of customers that are actually buying from them. So if I had a business like that, for every $1 I put in, I got $8 out, I would find as many dollars. It's a free money glitch essentially. So if I can get that on a little bit of a discount after, once again, very solid earnings, I'm not too worried. I wish the CEO was a little bit more excited on the earnings call, but I'm fully aware that, like,
He's Russian.
yeah, the company is being run not by the Steve Jobs, but like the Wozniaks. You know, he's the engineer. That's how they are. You know, he's not here to pitch the stock. Let the numbers pitch it for us. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought that part was incredibly bullish. Like, they're selling out of facilities that haven't even turned operational yet. Like, they were talking about the facility out in Israel, and they're like, yeah, we've already sold out of the capacity there, and we're not even live at that facility yet. Like, the bookings, they said they had over half of 2026 already accounted for from a bookings perspective. It's just quite crazy. And they said, hey, like, the demand, because they asked him, are we in an AI bubble? And he was just like, yeah, we're definitely not seeing demand slow down for 2026 at the very minimum. We'll see what happens in 2027, but 2026 is basically guaranteed for them.
Yeah, we have to turn away customers and hope that they come back later whenever we get some more power online. Those are incredible problems to have.
Yeah.
Like, the best problems.
What's interesting to me is that we had the deep dive on Nebius, and at the time I was a shareholder, I was not doing the deep dive as a new shareholder, and you guys didn't have a position. You came away from that saying, there's no reason to get a position, and I came away from that also saying, I'm going to be out after a double, and so now it's flipped. You two guys are in Nebius, I'm out. but yeah, I agree. Like they put up really good numbers. I think it's more execution than like the overall year over year, because when you're like a brand new business revving up the way that they are, but the market's in a mood to sell off earnings right now. So,
Bro, the Stock Tank show remains undefeated, the GOAT of just anything that comes on there in 6 to 12 months. It's just exploding, because when Manuel came to explain Nebius on the Stock Tank show, like it was trading at what, $30 or something like this, something super cheap. And
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
it's crazy. Like I caught it late at 50. Well, I mean, I guess not like too late in the grand scheme of things, but definitely not when he was talking about it. I was skeptical when he was talking about it, because I was like, really 600% growth rates? How can they keep that up? And then I went and I listened to some of the calls and I'm like, okay, I understand now.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting name. I actually ended up trimming a little bit of NVIDIA in order to buy the position, just because I needed the cash.
You what?
I trimmed NVIDIA in order to buy Nebius.
You feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. But I wanted to buy a decent position, and I needed cash. I needed cash in order to do that. I don't have cash like that sitting around. So, yeah, it's in the same sector, and NVIDIA did not fall nearly as much as Nebius has in the last 5 days. So,
yeah, that's why when I pivoted away from Nebius, I wasn't bearish on the company. I don't think any of us came away from that bearish. It was just we saw better opportunities, and for me, it was seeing exactly what's happened this week. That I had a lot of beta. I still have a lot of beta in my portfolio, which means there's insane volatility. Now, of the Mag 7, if you're going to pick the most volatile would be Tesla. But after that, that's NVIDIA. It's not exactly like super, super stable and goes up or down 1% each day. But compared to the rest of my portfolio, I'm like, it's an anchor stock. So let me do that. And Nebius, boy, like it's tanked along with everything else, which is an opportunity if you want a position. So that's a great thing for you guys.
Let me show you guys one thing, because this is something that, surprises me a little bit. Tanner, if you can throw this up. This is a couple of analysts on Nebius. It doesn't get a lot of coverage. It doesn't actually have a lot of analysts. That background is absolutely like
it's hard.
Yeah, it's seizure inducing. But so look at the upside from these analysts. Like you had D.A. Davidson come out this week saying 150. You had Northland saying 211. You have Goldman Sachs saying 137, 130. And look at the upside on all of these, right? They all reiterated. And the predominant consensus is a buy. And I don't see that very often, man. I see analysts not sticking their neck out to have these outlandish price targets that, like in the case of Northland, for example, it's 152% upside. And these are 12-month price targets. So I think, and Goldman upgraded again to 154, I think earlier today, 155, 154. So
I think it's 155.
It's so impressive that analysts are even so bullish on this thing, where in any other normal stock, like an analyst would be plus 10%, plus 20% upside, or even beneath where it's trading. So it's quite crazy to see even the few analysts that cover it to be so bullish. And I can't wait for more analysts to cover the stock. So early days.
Yeah, it was funny. Someone was asking me a question about it on my last live stream. They said, do you think it can get back to 100? I was like, I'm not in this to go back to 100. I was like, I'm in this for the 300s, like I'm looking for multiples if I'm buying these data centers. If we are 2 years into a 10-year build out, if you believe, Jensen and Lisa Su and the comments from Mark Zuckerberg and Satya and all of these guys that are essentially saying they're going to spend hundreds of billions of dollars and it's not going to slow down in this race to AGI, then Nebius is inherently going to be fine. But let's go back to SoFi really quick. SoFi ended up showing off, well, Anthony Noto ended up showing off a little bit of their roadmap, a little bit, during the KBW Payments Conference. He sat down and spoke about crypto, SoFi USD, their own stablecoin, SoFi Pay, their lending performance and their opportunities in home loans, personal loans, and student loans. They ended up talking about SoFi Money and a lot of the other financial services and credit cards. Where do we even begin, Roy?
I mean, there's a lot in that fireside chat. It was the most revealing of anything, and that's really what caught my eye the most. Was not all the things that he talked about, which certainly on their own did, but they had that Liz Young interview not a year ago, where in essence she asked and she said, "Hey, what are your big hairy audacious goals?" And he mentioned payments, but he kind of said, we got to play it close to the vest and somebody will copy us if we really put that out there. And this was not playing things close to the vest. Now, at the time, I thought that was a sign of weakness. That excellent companies and competitors really aren't too afraid of people copying them. They could try, but if they're an elite league, it's very difficult to actually copy. So this, I think, shows the confidence of Anthony Noto, and also the positioning where SoFi is. Now, will all these products win and do well and get meaningful volume? No, but some of them probably will. And I think very little of it, if anything, is priced in. So, but I love the tone. I loved, him just sharing a lot of details, a lot of information as well. There's international sprinklings there too. It just is a great call.
Tevis?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Roy said. He seemed incredibly relaxed and confident, and I think this was mentioned as well by Tim, perhaps. It seemed as though from his charisma and his mannerisms that Anthony Noto feels very comfortable going on the offensive, calling out competitors, calling out product innovations and the timelines that they have for product innovations, the fact that they plan on capturing more market share with regards to crypto, not just from a B2C, brokerage side of the business, but also offering Galileo services for the stable coins, international expansion, and so much more. And also the point around the unaided brand awareness and dropping that on our way to becoming $1 trillion company. Just something as subtle as that, like he knows the retail community, if nothing else, is going to pick up on those little Easter eggs. And I just thought it's just really refreshing to see their confidence so reinvigorated.
I know that someone like Vlad, after he does a call, he'll go check X, look at different YouTube channels, see the response to the performance. He's talked about that a few times. Do you think that after he drops a fireside chat, does Noto go to X to see all the unbelievable responses on X of people going like, he said $1 trillion, SoFi USD, I think he does.
Well, he's mentioned multiple times that he scours everything that is posted on Twitter with regards to the company, and he sees everything, good, bad, ugly, in between. And even if he doesn't see it, they probably have people that do see it and just do a digest back to say, hey, like, what's the, social media temperature of their actions? So I do think that a part of him really cares about the perception of the company. It's very clear that he views the company as his own personal legacy of what he wants to achieve. And it's showing through in their commitment to the mission, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Steve, what were your favorite parts of the fireside?
That everybody misinterpreted what he said about becoming $1 trillion company.
No one misinterpreted anything. You're the only one not understanding.
Yeah, everybody misinterpreted that.
How did we misinterpret, Steve?
He said on the way to becoming.
Yeah, that implies that the $1 trillion is the end destination, dude.
Every dollar in market cap is on the way of becoming. Like JP Morgan Chase isn't even $1 trillion company.
Yeah. But him putting an end destination in mind. I'm on the way home. You know, I'm not saying, hey, I'm just going to go west.
Right,
I'm
but
saying
eventually,
I am
eventually you
working
get
my way
home.
towards an end goal. So he could have said on the way to 10 trillion, or he could have said 100 billion. But my point is like they have that as an end destination that he's
Right.
communicating.
My problem with it is how many people were saying they're going to become $1 trillion company, blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's not what he's saying.
Imagine that he drops like in, what is it? Undecillion or something like this on our way to an undecillion.
Yeah. A $6 trillion
Yeah.
company.
We
On
need
our way
to
to-
invent new numbers because they don't go high enough.
To where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think anybody put a gun to his head and said, hey, drop an arbitrary number that you're not going to make the market hyperfixate on. Like, I think he did it on purpose. Now, whether it was misleading or not, I don't think so, because I like what would he have said on the way to $100 billion is like, cool, that's like a 3x. That's not going to get
I'm not saying it was
I mean, that gets me
misleading. I'm
excited.
saying that people took it out of context and started making posts on X that were just ridiculous. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. Anything else that you liked?
I mean, I made a post on X. I did one of those, what do you call it? Like the Antonio Linares quotes. SoFi is at 27x from here. Like,
Yeah.
Noto,
I-
parentheses.
I saw it.
Yeah, but I mean, look, man, he didn't put a timeline on it. He could say we're on the way to $1 trillion in 50 years. You'll hit it eventually.
Maybe it's clickbait. We
Will
all know
we?
it is.
Yeah, I'm not really well, it's not that I'm not looking forward to $1 trillion, but it's not even on the radar for me. I am looking more forward to 100 billion though, and we will get there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one, dude. 100 billion, like $100 stock price is gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Because of the option selling, obviously my SoFi position is fully built out, but I have like a round number of shares, and I can tell exactly like what my position changes with like every dollar or every $2 because it's such easy math because it's just a round number of shares. And so I don't know, it's crazy to see it in that perspective. Like, oh, so if I don't have $2 today, that's, XYZ up or down. And it cuts both ways, right? Because like this week we saw multiple days where SoFi was like down 10%, down 8% for no reason at all. It's just
Well, I don't know. They are diluting more, so that math might not be as easy. But who knows? Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, especially Roy, because you're very interested in a business that has recently started a stablecoin, and not just started one, but actually among one of the very few companies to actually, I would say, reach a certain scale that has proven their worth, and that's PayPal. Just in the last 2 months, they've tripled their market cap in their stablecoin. Tripled.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask about Figure because I'm like, they got a stablecoin too, interested in it. But yeah. PayPal. No, it's actually technically the third largest stablecoin, if you exclude those that are backed with crypto or algorithmic, which aren't really, in my definition, stablecoin. But dollar denominated, yeah, it's number 3. Massive scale and growth. And it's really nice that PayPal can grow the market cap of something.
And how do you think that SoFi, being an actually regulated bank, will stack up in this market?
Payments, I am not really that optimistic. Like the remittance stuff. So it seems like sometimes Noto is referring to payments as like the remittance that they do right now, and there's something more with it as well. So the remittance piece of payments looks like it's going to be very competitive, surprisingly so, actually. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm drinking chai, but I'll have some more on you. Thank you. I'll have some Monster tomorrow, maybe. But so the remittance side, they're extremely competitive there, and I did not think that they would be. We'll have to see how volume actually ticks up and everything. Now, on the payment side, that's harder to break into, especially when you've not been in that. Noto is absolutely on the money. He talked a number of times about wallets. That this is a wallet play is what it is. And like there was a article that I kind of reposted about today on just how much wallets have increased as far as usage for people. Now, it's not a super scientific survey, but basically it showed a doubling or more over the last 2 years of paying with all types of wallets. PayPal, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Venmo, like you just name it out there. So we'll have to see. I could be wrong, just like I think I was wrong on the remittance product. I think that that's going to be a tough game to break into, but yeah, we'll see. Like the nice thing is, if most of SoFi's story or a good chunk of it was like hinging on them getting payments right, I'd be like, wow, this is feeling a little bit risky. Absolutely nothing could happen with SoFi Pay, and it's still a great buy today. So that's kind of nice. What do you think? What do you guys think? Is it like you think it's going to be a really huge thing for SoFi, or what's your assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's going to be really large, and then I think that Noto is really involved with the other banks. And I don't think that you see that from a lot of the other names that we cover. A lot of the fintechs that we cover are very consumer facing. I think that they are very institutional facing. Obviously, SoFi does a lot for consumers, but what makes their ability to sell loans or Galileo or have the loan platform business, these sort of things, is their relationship essentially on Wall Street. So I think that they could make some really good headwind with this SoFi USD. And there was another comment that was made during that said, we are going to do this in every currency that is needed. And so obviously the mass market right now for stable coins is US dollars. But who knows if that branches out, that SoFi becomes a very, very big player in the stablecoin market. And I wonder how names like Circle or Tether even compete. Like, what is their advantage versus a name like SoFi that does have a fully regulated bank?
Well, so I would say, at least for them, I think Circle, if I'm not mistaken, is applying to be a bank, but
applying, but not a bank.
Yeah.
But doesn't that go to prove how useful it is? Like that.
Yes.
That shows that it's needed.
Well, it is. Well, it's advantageous.
Yes,
is it needed? Like, I think Circle and Tether will be fine without it, just because first mover advantage. They're ubiquitous. Circle's team, like, they built a lot of incredible things, and then most of where they're deployed is internationally. And I don't think that they care nearly as much. The institutions here in the United States, I think, do, and that's absolutely where the stablecoin for SoFi can be differentiated. Because I'm seeing like there's a lot of differentiation in terms of like how these will use. I think no one is doubting that Tether and also to a slightly lesser extent Circle are going to dominate Web3. That's unquestionable. There's a lot of other stablecoins though that are good at other things. PayPal might be the payment stablecoin. I think SoFi, of course, has a chance, but it can really differentiate itself because it's issued by a bank. So there will be some that, well, and the other thing too, like with their crypto offering, not even just institutions, there are people that are open to crypto, but they're maybe like novices. And for them to get their foot wet, what will make them, I think, a lot more comfortable is to do that. Noto made this point that you can see it right on your app. And so you can see it right there by your bank assets, which is, very comforting for a lot of people, instead of downloading a wallet from a company that you've never heard of before and trying to figure out how to send it. And you're making sure that you're doing things right. You're just there. You're like, well, I've got an extra $500. I'm going to go put that in Solana. And so you go, boom, done. And it's right there. And you can see it every day. That's awesome. And I think that's going to, like, are they going to be like insanely competitive on the crypto side for consumers? Probably not, but it's way too early to tell. And they will be competitive. There are going to be some people that use SoFi because of that bank and that recognition and them able to see it all in one app. So
I honestly think SoFi is so good at doing crypto properly. Like, even with the international remittances and payments that way, it's not like, oh, here's your wallet address, go scan a QR code, go send this to somebody and put that. No, it's just send a payment to their email address, and we will handle all the back end stuff that the average person does not want to learn whenever it comes to cryptocurrency, right? And the same thing with the stable coins. If you call them stable coins, don't put it as a invest product in a brokerage. Put it in a checking account the way that they're doing it, a part of SoFi Money, because that's what it is. If it's a stable coin, it should be a part of your checking account. And so I'm really happy the way that they think about crypto. The only way that it ever goes modern is if it's treated like regular money. But,
yeah, especially on the consumer side for payments. Like, it has to be seamless. Because, I mean, like, people are not going to be... There's a few weirdos like us that'll be like, hey, I can actually pay by crypto. I'm going to do that because that's fun. 99.99% of the population doesn't care about that.
It's really funny. I saw this thing on Twitter. Every now and again, I'll go on the For You page, and it's like less investing content. It's like whatever's trending. And this person was showing their Facebook Marketplace chats back and forth, and they were offering to buy stuff on Facebook Marketplace with Bitcoin. They're like, hey, like, you know, he was buying a TV or a couch or something, and he's like, hey, can I pay you in Bitcoin? And the guy's like, no, I'd actually really prefer cash. And then, you know, he was saying, I'll actually give you 10% more if I can pay you in Bitcoin. He's like, dude, I just need cash. Or like, he's like, I'm not, I don't want to take Bitcoin. And this is like multiple chats, like different instances with different people. And the caption was like, you're still early. Like, if you think that you're late, you're still early. And so it's just crazy because you are so inundated on a daily basis with this little echo chamber X bubble. And then you step out into the real world and you have those interviews where they ask people on the street, they're like, hey, would you have $1,000 cash or one Bitcoin? And they're like, $1,000 cash. Like,
I've seen those with even $100. Do you want $100 cash? And then you see these people and they're like, no, $100. It's only one coin. And it's like
they did it outside a Taylor Swift concert. They're like, Taylor Swift tickets or one and they were like, Taylor Swift ticket. It's like, dude.
Yeah, well, I've seen similar with like precious metals, silver and gold. Now, right now, I think that they're in headlines, so a lot of people might grab the gold or grab the silver. But oftentimes, it was like a 10-for-1 type of offer, and there were a few takers, but mostly they're like, "No, let me just have the cash." And I think part of it might not just even be well. I think people obviously that are not in that world don't know that it's worth. But the other factor is like, how do you actually sell it? They might know that there's some value in Bitcoin or gold or silver, but like, okay, if I get handed like a bar of gold, where do I go? No, they might go to the pawn shop and be like, you know, ripped off there. But, you know, there are some legitimate places to go where they can sell it online. And Bitcoin likewise, so that, like, even more so, like people are like, okay, do I have to install an app now? Or like, how do I sell it for money? And, you know, just, and it can also sometimes feel too good to be true when it's,
yeah, I think the other thing too is that the people that do say Bitcoin, they just delete those clips. Like, they're selling a narrative here to go viral.
Selection bias, yeah.
But anything else? Like there were a bunch of comments in the SoFi Fireside chat that were talking about how, like Anthony Noto was like, yeah, we see credit deterioration in the market, just not us. Like we're not seeing it at all, is what he said. We're not seeing it at all. Is this something that like you completely agree with, or how, like, do you think that people should be worried, especially if we don't get a rate cut, that, you know, SoFi is not going to be able to find new loan growth, or that those dozens of people that they're talking to might not essentially return those phone calls if we don't get a December rate cut? Do you think that there's any additional concern than maybe how bullish Noto is making it out to be for Q4 in 2026 in general?
I mean, this is a man that, you know, last year called for recession and also much fewer rate cuts than anybody else. Well, you know, of course, it's his team, but they, like most bankers, are very, very conservative. And so him saying that, it's just straight up truth. Like, if there was any kind of weakness on their end, they would say that and admit it and move on. But I mean, they reached the higher FICO credit scores. We know that. I do think some of those FICO scores might take a hit, you know, just because there is some pressure, especially in the lower end. But it's a very, very, I'm seeing like the word bifurcated everywhere. Like the upper end of the economy doing great. and the lower, or not, at least good. I wouldn't say great, because some of those upper end are like moving downstream to McDonald's and like all these other. I had this post from earnings call. I think I posted it Monday or Tuesday, where it went through like CEOs talking about consumer weakness, and almost all, though there was some differentiation, were like, hey, we're growing massively on the upper income folks, and on the lower income, we're losing just as much. And I mean, that's a sign of stress on the lower end. So I think there's absolutely that going on. SoFi caters more towards the upper end. There is some stress there too, but it's not nearly as pronounced. The shutdown ending and SNAP benefits being restored helps. We'll have to see next year with ACA where that's at. There will be larger than normal tax refunds. I looked it up again. I got to write down the number. I think it's $357 per individual. Plus, hopefully this doesn't happen, but the $2,000 stimulus check or something along that line, if that happens, that'll help folks too, even if it reignites inflation. But yeah, there's some stress there for sure. Now, the last thing is I'll say that buy now, pay later, I think it's really risky to be in a buy now, pay later company on its own, just because on the other side of a whole bunch of buy now, pay later loans, there could be defaults. But at least on the short term, over the next like 1 to 2 years, I think that that's a fairly untapped credit box for a lot of people. So I think that the things can keep going as they are, even if we're just limping along on the lower income side. And I hope things improve.
Anything to add to that, Steve?
Everybody better hope that the Fed cuts. I can tell you that much. If the Fed doesn't cut, we're going to be in some serious trouble.
What are the odds? Right, 50-50, I think, is the.
Yeah. Who knows at this point with the narrative changing so much this week?
Yeah. We got a little bit of time to find out. Another month or so to go.
Yeah, it's deteriorated even more. So this is December's meeting, 55.6%. So a weighted coin flip is now no cuts.
Can we compare this? Can we compare this with Kalshi? I'm kind of curious to see what the poor think versus
that
this.
is interesting.
But this is 1 month ago, 95% probability of a cut. It's crazy.
Yeah, now they're talking about potentially having to raise rates if they do not cut.
Kalshi rates are almost the exact same. 52% chance of maintaining the rate, 48% chance of a 25 base point cut. If you guys want to see this, I can also share. If we are visual learners.
Yeah, throw it up.
What's the black one? 50 bips?
Yeah.
Wow, 3%.
Which is essentially 1% plus 2 bips.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So
that's wild. What is that? Like a 30x or something? 33x on your money if they got 50 bips.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to win many of those, but there would
have to be win many of those.
to be fair to the Fed, I'm usually pretty critical of them. They don't have all the data because of the shutdown, and that data, it's not just the government's never releasing them. It has incomplete data, and it's like, let's just not release things in general. Now, Trueflation has shown a spike up in inflation. I don't think that the Fed is looking at that for their read. Otherwise, things would be very different right now. But it's I understand like them saying, hey, there's meetings next year. Why don't we just keep things the same? Punt, and we'll try it again next time.
That would be the worst thing that they could do. The absolute worst thing. You're getting a new Fed chair in May. The new Fed chair is going to be a super dove. They are going to have some type of leeway, and they're going to be able to influence other Fed members. You're in a situation where companies are cutting back on employees. You have mass layoffs happening. And if they do not cut, or they do the unthinkable and decide to start raising, maybe not in December, but in January, they will make a market where it becomes unsustainable to borrow again, destroy entrepreneurship, and make margins for small businesses even tighter, and accelerate layoffs. That is the last thing that we need or want. because then unemployment goes up and you can kiss new highs goodbye on the market. And that will start to stem the idea that we are currently in a recession. So the last thing that the Fed should do is do nothing. They should cut like their lives depend on it right now. 25 bips at the very minimum.
Wow, at the very minimum. Steve, you got to put that 3% bet down.
No, I mean, look, rates should be 2.5% and not be changed unless there's dire straits. Let the free market work and figure it out. If there is a demand problem, more supply will come on the market because companies will be able to turn a buck. You cannot have an environment where companies borrow at very low rates and then jack up interest rates and keep them there. So when they go to refinance, their profit margins contract so much that their only course of action to make back that margin is to lay people off. Especially in this environment. Verizon just announced 10,000 layoffs?
Exactly.
Well,
jobs are the real problem because over 80% of the companies that reported this time around, beat their estimates, and most of them raised, their guidance as well. But when you look at the other side of the coin, you're seeing mass layoffs across the board from all of these large companies, and that's going to reverberate in the economy. It's going to be a lag, but the Fed needs to act now to make sure they can meet it when it happens.
And you need to create an environment where businesses are incentivized to expand. People are incentivized to take risks on entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, if big companies are cutting back, you need to have some type of job market flourishing. You don't get that where current rates are. And you still have golden handcuffs on mortgages, because nobody in their right mind is taking on a 6% mortgage if they have a 3.2% or sub 3%. So at the end of the day, unless you're in a situation where it is completely warranted, this whole idea of moving it 25 bips here, 50 bips there is stupid. Think about this.
Do you think, hold on though, real quick, before you get any deeper, you're not really talking much about inflation though. Do you think that is a concern right now?
No.
Not at all.
The big thing that's a concern when you start talking about some prices going up is the price of natural gas, which nobody looks at. Natural gas was at $4.67 the other day per MCF. That's insanity. And it's because of all the data centers, and we don't have enough freaking power plants. And we're not drilling enough. You need natural gas to come down. But when it comes to the rate increase or decrease, if you have rates at 2.5% versus 3.5%, you go to the store and you spend $102.50 or $103.50, it doesn't freaking matter. Nobody is making $1 is not making or breaking anything. You need to have a less restrictive environment for the business community to operate the way that it needs to. Otherwise, we're going to continue to see people not be able to get new jobs in the face of layoffs. It is so critically important to get rates down to a non-restrictive rate. And this Fed is getting behind the ball again, and they're chickening out, and they're hiding behind the fact that, the government was shut down. We don't have the data. It doesn't matter. Cut. And I got news for everybody. When Powell leaves, he's going to put in somebody who is so dovish that probably wants rates at 2%.
To be fair, they have not cut since the cutting cycle has started this year. So we saw a cut in September. We saw a cut in October. We have not, paused the rates again.
Correct. But
there's just commentary right now until the next
commentary saying that maybe we need to raise rates. Like, oh, really? You want to raise rates in the face of all these layoffs?
Yeah, but these types of comments come out all the time.
Really smart. Open up the freaking housing market. Look, the builders aren't going to build if they can't tap the debt markets at a level that makes sense for them. We need more housing. There's a lot of things that getting rates down to the proper level will solve. It's just ridiculous.
Anything or anybody want to add anything on that? I agree with you that we should get some more cuts, definitely in December, and then I'm sure we also see some more cuts into 2026 as well. It's just, yeah, if they don't cut this, this next meeting, December 10th, the market is not going to like that. However, I wonder how much of that is already being priced in. Like as the odds adjust from, what was 95, 97% chance of cutting now down to 45%, the market has been adjusting to that chance. We still have more to go, but I wonder if we do end up seeing a rate cut a month from now, how the market will react. Obviously, if we do get a rate cut, that'll be quite bullish, but I don't know how much the downside there's still left to go.
Tanner, remember one thing: if they don't cut, you're going to start to get headlines. Mark my words, headlines of "Are we in a recession?" If they don't cut, especially with job loss, and then that will reverberate through the market, and you will see more and more people talk about it on CNBC and Bloomberg.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be the case, Steve. I think that if they don't cut for a while, that'll be the case. But I think at least this time they have the excuse of just not having all the data. So I don't think that we'll see that. Plus, I do think that the consumer spend will be healthy, more so than a lot of people expect during the Christmas season. And so that'll probably take most of the attention. But I mean, like, you're right. If like we have 2 or 3 sessions where they don't cut at all, you're absolutely right. I just think December is a punt either way.
Can we pivot over to Robinhood really quickly?
I'll
This
allow
is
it.
the FinTech Friday show after all.
You guys buying contracts for tomorrow night?
I'm not, as a Canadian, but I'm glad you are.
Steve,
I already have.
Did you see that post, Steve, around Robinhood Marketplace? I thought of you when I saw it. And
I did. I sent it to somebody. And they told me it was AI.
I don't think it was real, but I think the example had like a Pokemon card and it was like a two-way marketplace. I was like, oh man, I should send this to Steve because I was thinking like that could be really cool. What do you think about that? Did you guys all see this?
A few people sent it to me.
It was just I think Juan posted. Wasn't it Juan?
Just like a mock-up, yeah.
But yeah, it was just a mock-up for a peer-to-peer marketplace for collectibles and stuff.
Since we're pivoting to Robinhood, this has both SoFi and Robinhood. Granny Shot Holdings, figured we just mention this. Tom Lee bought SoFi, so he owns Robinhood. Technically the number one holding, but it's pretty much equal weighted, just with unrounding errors. So.
Yeah, it'll always be equal weighted.
Like in an intraday session, no, but like I think that they balance it. It's more often than once a week. Is it daily?
No, I thought it was monthly. I could be wrong. I must be wrong because they're very close.
Yeah,
so,
maybe it's weekly. So I know it's pretty often. So
yeah, it's probably weekly. Sorry, and honestly, I don't like that strategy. It feels like you're never going to have 100% success rate. So it does pose the question, like, are you cutting your flowers and watering your weeds every week? Like think about the time from his first Granny Shots ETF purchase of Robinhood, how many shares he held, to now, how many fewer shares that he's held, because he had to constantly trim it back each and every week as it exploded from $30 or $25 a share all the way up to $150. I mean, it's good that he's buying the dip now as it falls, but still, I'm just not a big fan of that. The reason why I'm bringing up Robinhood right now is that we got Hood's monthly statistics. Tevis, you don't follow this name, I don't think. Steven, I don't know if you've seen these numbers, probably not. Tell me if you guys like what you're about to see. Tevis, have you seen these? The October number? Okay, good.
No.
So they ended up posting their October numbers, and funded customers is now 27.1 million, a 210,000 month-over-month change, which was one of the strongest months we've ever seen. Okay. Total platform assets went up about 3%. Net deposits still came in positive, 5.6 billion new deposits. Cash sweep actually slightly went down. Okay. Nothing too crazy here. It's looking good, but nothing quote unquote breakout. Look at Roy's smile as I'm about to show you.
Oh, wait,
By the way,
there's more.
Tevis, what is the number one product that Robinhood makes money on?
What is it?
Take a guess.
What their brokerage, their options.
Options, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this options performance for October. Look at this. Up 22% month over month.
Nice.
To 267 million contracts. This is crazy. Up 70% year over year. This is what retail is doing right now. Equity notional volume up 34% month over month. I don't remember October being this manic.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like the other part too was, if you go back to the previous slide, the active users, that grew by a decent amount, like sequentially. We'd seen like there was 3 quarters basically partly because of its achievement, where they were essentially flat, and they would have been if it wasn't for Bitstamp in the acquisition, or was it TradePMR? I think there's a combination actually thereof. But this quarter, took a meaningful step forward, along with pretty much everything else. Crypto, of course, is going to be very noisy.
I also found it interesting that Bitstamp is that such a big chunk of the crypto volume.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got it.
Once you take into account the take rate, it's not as exciting. It's about 1/12 the take rate because it's institutional. So
got it.
I think
why it does more volume too, because it's institutional.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Tevis. So like, well, 2 things. One is you can see that little gray bar, like it's ticking up. This is what Robinhood does with acquisitions. They buy things for actually usually really good values, incorporate them quickly, and then scale them. And they talked about that in the fireside chat this week on Robinhood. Stephen Quirk, that this is what they do with mergers and acquisitions. This is their first institutional product. And Vlad mentioned back April, May or so, he said that there was a point where he thinks that Robinhood will be half of their revenue will come from institutional sources. They have basically none right now. So this is like, we can oftentimes look at the stock price and how much is accumulated, and maybe it got a little bit ahead of itself. It's pulled back a good bit, but man, they're growing well, and this is not like, oh, it's too late to invest in Robinhood. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, it's very cyclical. There will be a lot of volatility between now and then, but over the next 10 years, man, they're going to put on quite a show.
Steve, you're still not in this, right? I don't think he is. Okay.
But you know what? Over the last year, the way he talks about Robinhood has definitely changed. Am I right, Steve?
Absolutely. It has definitely changed. They're delivering on all accounts. They are rolling out products. They are creating products that are engaging, that everybody's using. Their operating margin is out of control. Their profitability is great. I like a lot of things about it. I just don't like the valuation. And I think it is pricey here. But at the same time, I don't see other companies doing what they're doing. And it's interesting. If they have a substantial pullback, I would consider starting a position.
So since we're on the Robinhood topic still, I know that their earnings was last week, not this week. But Steve and Tevis, because I know, Tanner, you know this. Do you guys know what they said for predictions volume in October on the earnings call?
No.
It
actually correlates very well with Tevis's gambling addiction as well. It's the exact same ratio. Go ahead.
If you combine all the revenue from the previous quarter, that's what October did alone.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, look, man, I've said it, and it's just anecdotal, but seeing the massive popularity rise in prediction markets holistically, like as a sector, and then seeing how Robinhood is providing all of that access with an app that the younger generation loves, it's not. It doesn't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together to say this is going to be a massive product for them. Now, I don't know. Go ahead, Steve.
I don't want you to finish that sentence. I have a question for you. The question is, with how much good it's doing for Robinhood, would you be in favor of SoFi adding prediction market?
I want like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire waiting sound, like dun, dun, dun.
So I mean,
there's a reason why I'm asking, and I'll tell you after you answer. I actually want to.
Look, I
want you and Roy, because I already talked to Tanner about this. I know where he stands.
Okay, so there's a couple of things, right? Nobody can deny that it brings people into the ecosystem. It's a product that consumers want. It's something that they'll make money on, so it's lucrative. So those are the things on the pro side of the argument. The con side of the argument would be it doesn't align as well with their brand as the Robinhood, brand, because SoFi is all about making smarter money decisions, and gambling is not necessarily that. And then I think that one thing I don't like about how Robinhood has it implemented, which sort of plays into the financial aspect or the lucrative aspect of this initiative, is having it all under one app. Because having it all under one app makes it so incredibly easy for you to just, essentially put on a wager. Whereas if you have to do through a separate app and you have to, do the login and authentication and all that other stuff, like it's another hurdle. And then I also think, Steve, that it wouldn't make sense so much for SoFi, again, from their brand and positioning, because they are a nationally chartered bank. One thing Anthony Noto mentioned this week on the Fireside, or when they launched crypto, that was very powerful, was that you can essentially take your paycheck that comes into your checking and savings account, and then you can just transfer it internally in the ecosystem and go ahead and buy crypto. And like not having to transfer to a brokerage to do that activity, doing it straight through your primary bank, I think is very powerful. Now, if we allow an easy on-ramp for gambling provided by your bank that has some fiduciary duty as a nationally chartered financial bank, I think that's a slippery slope as well. I'm more libertarian in the sense that the market should decide and people should be adults to do, what they will. So I like it from that perspective. I just don't think it aligns as cleanly with SoFi's mantra, their mission statement, and their brand positioning.
Roy, what about you?
I don't even know if that was a yes or a no. What even was that? You just played both sides.
Yeah, he didn't answer the question.
He's running for office.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I gotta please SoFi folks, but I'm also a degen. So how do I answer this?
Do you guys remember the Cuomo thing about what sport that he would attend? And he said both halfway through. He would watch both games. Did you guys see that?
No, I think this user, Amcon, nailed it. It was a no. So if you're, backing me up against the wall to give you an answer, it will be a no. So I'm acknowledging the fact that it is a lucrative path, but I think that they can make money without following that lucrative path. If they were blindly chasing money, then sure, they could do it. But they should not do things that are misaligned with their brand just for the sake of making money, because they have such a rich roadmap ahead of them that they can make money in many, many different ways that better align with their positioning. So it is a no.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. There was a nice post from Public that recently threw a little jab at Robinhood for doing this. Wealth is not won in a bet. If you're looking for a broker that's not also your bookie, we invite you to try Public.
Yeah, I interviewed one of the co-CEOs from Public, and it was very clear he was not a fan of some of the things that Robinhood was doing. And I asked him a question because I thought I had seen an announcement that Public was getting in, but instead it wasn't. I missed it in the part, but I was like, hey, so I had heard you say some comments on predictions market to be critical, and yet I see you're launching it. He's like, we're not launching it. We'll never launch it. We're never. And it's like, oh man.
I think that's
Sorry.
who posted you. You interviewed him, right? The guy that
I did. Yeah, Life Abram.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they there's a lot of competition in that front, and a lot of desire to differentiate beyond that like first peer level, where a lot of the brokerages sit or where Robinhood sits. And predictions market's not a way where they felt like that they would do. So yeah, it's scaling so fast and rapidly. We saw Google, for instance, partner with Polymarket. This was like a week ago. It just, but Robinhood has a strong advantage because it's already a place where you have your money. So it's hard to beat that. DraftKings, of course, I think 2 weeks ago their earnings call was they said they're getting into that. FanDuel's, I think, is likely to head that direction too, and a lot of others. One thing, by the way, on predictions market and Robinhood, Stephen Quirk in the fireside chat, like he mentioned the unit economics that are still evolving, which is interesting because I thought it was somewhat established. The one cent for 1 cent, Kalshi gets one, Robinhood gets one. But yeah, that may not be the case. And then he also cited and he said Robinhood has a history of partnering with somebody at first and then building their own thing and breaking away from them, which we've seen probably with Galileo. But I think this signals the direction that Robinhood's probably going to go. So
I didn't watch it. He said that they have a history of building their own thing
in the context of the predictions market and acquisitions. I know.
I called that.
And like that. So for context, for Tevis, since you're an investor, Steve, maybe you'd like this too. If they do go that route, they go vertically integrated, that instantly or almost instantly doubles their predictions market revenue. Like
as in if they don't partner with Kalshi, you mean?
They just do it themselves.
I don't think that they'll double revenue. I think that they'll offer a very low rate. Well, historically, a Robinhood thing to be the cheapest in the market.
Yeah, and they have ecosystem benefits, right? Where they already have their existing user base and they can have the prediction markets even as a loss leader. And I think that the volume that is seen that Robinhood provides Kalshi should be scary for Kalshi if Robinhood decides to, vertically integrate and build it themselves, because they're actually going to dominate in that market because of those same ecosystem benefits.
Okay. I think somebody that may or may not be working at SoFi said that they are not working on prediction markets.
Surprise.
Yeah.
There's just some things like you don't have to, even though you want to be a one-stop shop, that doesn't mean you literally have to do everything. You have your specialization. Like SoFi is going to dominate the lending side. It just is. And Robinhood, like they're in a killer brokerage, and obviously they're well positioned with predictions market. That doesn't mean that they're going to be equally good with each other. And there's plenty of places to compete. So
look at Ray going around the channels.
Thank you, Ray.
Gifting each a membership. That's very generous of you, Ray. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray.
Steve doesn't care about $5.
Why would you say that?
Because you didn't say thank you.
I did say thank you. What are you talking about?
Did he?
Yes.
Okay, I take it all back. He does care about $5.
I was even trying to grow a mustache to be like you. I'm going to shave it off right after this freaking stream.
Can you show everyone? I can't. Here, 1 sec. Go ahead.
So I started shaving before. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grow a mustache like Tanner. Now I'm not anymore.
No, come on.
Okay.
No, don't do that. I'm sorry. I just didn't hear you. I thought your mic was muted. I thought I could take advantage of the fact that you didn't know that your mic was muted, but I guess my ears were muted instead.
A mustache with a handlebar, Steve. I think you could rock that.
I was considering it.
You should.
I think I could grow it in like 5 weeks, probably.
Well, maybe it's not even going to be November.
Like you're talking like I think you give me 6 weeks, I could do it, but it's coming off tonight.
Yeah, what is it? Is it Donnie Brasco? Which one's the one where he has like the handlebars going? No, it's not.
That's not Donnie Brasco.
What am I thinking?
Yeah, there's only been a couple times where I've seen Steve with some real facial hair, and Yeah, you should do it more often. You're too corporate. I don't know what it is with the corporate lifestyle and having a clean face. What is that? Bring back facial hair.
Oh, well, Steve though is Superman, so he's just this is the Clark Kent version with the glasses. So, but either way, he's clean shaven.
I mean, I'll go 2 weeks, sometimes 2.5 weeks, but at some point, just I don't know how Roy keeps it. It's just annoying.
Steve, you need the Gangs of New York Daniel Day-Lewis mustache going. That's what you need.
I was trying to get the Tanner mustache going, but
Do you know how much milk that you would get a little milk mustache in your own mustache if you
that would be fine.
if you got one?
Maybe they would make me a spokesperson. Who knows?
Steve, JJ said, ask Steve about UFC tomorrow. Are we doing a stream?
Why would you? Okay.
What?
Why are you pivoting to sports, dude? I'm over here in an island.
We're 1 hour in, man. You watch
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're going to do a stream. We can figure it out tomorrow, but I'm so pumped for this. Like, maybe we'll do the prelims.
That could be fun. I'll be having several
Or-
bets going for the prelims, and I can share with people what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I got two tomorrow that I really think are locks. So,
Are you? I saw this John Jones promo around him fighting at the White House for the 250th. I kind of want to find tickets to that.
no, you don't.
No,
Trust me, you don't.
why?
You think they're letting a Canadian watch it? That's going to be an all-American viewing.
You think so?
Well,
Dude,
no, I
it's
don't
gonna
think.
be-
They're not gonna.
It's going to be mayhem trying to get around over there. There's going to be 70 or 80,000 people outside.
It's historic, Steve.
Yeah, I get that, but trust me, you'll be way more comfortable in your apartment or house or wherever you want to watch it in the AC. It's going to be a
Bro.
nightmare down there.
On the White House lawn, watching John Jones knock the fuck out of somebody.
Unless you're getting invited
Fourth of
by
July.
Dana, trust me, it's not going
I'm
to be
not
good.
even American. It's gonna be great. Can't wait.
Now, if it was at a stadium, that's a different story. But that's going to be crazy.
There's only going to be allowed 2 citizenships allowed on that field. It's going to be American or Saudi because they own that whole sport. So,
Tevis, did I ever tell you about my UFC 205 experience?
Which one was
did you go?
Who was
Yeah, I
the
went.
who was the main fight at 205
McGregor, it was when he became double champ. McGregor freaking Alvarez.
against Aldo?
Eddie Alvarez.
Nice. That was a good
So-
fight.
It was the first fight at Madison Square Garden. So it was historic New York. I had to go. When I tell you, and I could be understating it, 70% of the people there were Irish. Okay.
Well, it's McGregor fighting, right?
The entire time, it was the ole, ole, ole. And during the McGregor fight, they draped me in the Irish flag, and it was just pandemonium the whole time. I have never been to a sporting event that electric from the prelims through. It was insanity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've always been curious about for sorry, now you guys got me on sports real quick. Maybe we should talk about this in the after hours. But
And
I
DMNR.
think Jose Aldo or something like this, if you were to have gone to that fight, I would actually be pretty disappointed. Obviously, you're seeing a legendary moment.
Like
but
the one punch knockout.
Yeah, it's 7 seconds was the main event. I'd be so
Dude, what are
angry.
you talking about? It was 2 rounds.
No,
No,
you're
the
talking about
first
Eddie
round.
Alvarez.
Yeah, that was not a 7-second fight.
No,
You mean
Jose
Jose
Aldo
Aldo.
was a 7-second fight.
Okay, yes, Jose Aldo was, yes.
Yeah. Can you imagine going to that one for
Yeah,
his
I'd be
first
pissed.
belt?
I'd be pissed.
I'd be
I don't know
pissed.
that I'd be pissed. I mean, that's like going to a Tyson fight. How can you get pissed at that? People showed up to the Ronda Rousey fight. She was winning in 7 seconds.
I mean, I guess
I
the
think she
good thing-
won. I think she won quick once, but
Okay, she won a bunch of fights in the first 2-3 minutes.
The good thing with UFC is that I can watch all the other fights ahead of, and like those are more often than not the most interesting ones. Like the prelims are way more fascinating than the main fights, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
they go so hard because they
Yeah.
are trying not to get caught.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
So I gotta catch a fight, man. I've never been to a UFC. I've been to a lot of other
You
sporting
got
events.
to go to a UFC event. You have to do it once.
When's the next fight in New York? I'll fly down.
Isn't it tomorrow night?
Okay, I'm not flying down tomorrow night.
Okay, let's pivot this conversation because I don't think anyone does care.
What are you talking about? You reading the chat? They're loving it.
I'm looking at the view count. It's at a free fall right now. No one cares.
Talking about.
I mean, you're gonna go behind a paywall. The view count's gonna fall quite a bit.
No, I want to talk. We have more talk. We haven't talked about BM&R. We haven't talked about PayPal. I've got things to talk about.
Things. He's got things to talk about.
That guy's a professional streamer over here. We're just trying to talk
Yeah,
about the
I
UFC.
am a professional streamer. You pivoted to UFC
Listen,
midway through
Tempest
the
and I
show.
are trying to have a good time talking about UFC.
Yeah, I'm gonna add my bookmark there for
Wow.
UFC and add some question marks. UFC, I don't.
Somebody
Oh,
said,
by
"Shut
the
up."
way, speaking about UFC, you see Dana White on CNBC the other day?
Yeah, dude, wasn't he ringing
Can
the
we
bell?
talk about UFC and Polymarket, please? The live scoreboard. Did you guys see that? How incredible.
No, I saw the exclusive partnership, but I did not see.
Yeah, so there's a clip on CNBC. We could watch it if you want. And Dana and the CEO of Polymarket were on CNBC, and they're going to have a live Polymarket at the events, a scoreboard that changes with momentum with everything live. It's going to be crazy.
That is crazy. I
It's
like
going
that.
to be so great.
You have
People are
the
bullish on DraftKings. I don't understand. Like the tools will be built in
Dude,
live time.
DraftKings is goner.
dude, but like you have such a big influence with DraftKings. Every time I see any sporting events, it's like they throw up that minty chick, and she's like, "Oh, this is sponsored by DraftKings. Like, what's the bet?" And they show the live odds for everything. I feel like there's a huge opportunity for prediction markets to take that over, and when they do, that's going to be a massive momentum shift because it's going to be accessible to so many more people.
Yeah,
through that
could you
coverage.
imagine if the judges can see the odds on the fights?
They can. It's called DraftKings, Tanner.
Yeah, but they're not checking it. I bet you they're not allowed to look.
The judges at the UFC will be seeing the Polymarket live scoreboard because it's going to be on the Jumbotrons.
Well, I don't know if can you see the jumbotrons from like
I
ringside?
think so. When I went, I would think you can from where the judges are. I would think you can just look up and see the Jumbotron. Yes.
Somebody said they're also not allowed to bet. Surely, so yeah, the judges already see all of this stuff.
Look,
So, like speaking of betting, like that is one of those things where if you're using Kalshi or a Polymarket, there's a delay between what you see on public broadcasts and seeing it live. Now, it may only be several seconds, but that may be all the time you need. Like, so I could see that becoming very commonplace across a lot of sporting events. Plus the NHL, like probably first NHL, maybe that affects you guys more. I don't know if you guys are. I know you're Canadian. I'm not assuming every Canadian's into hockey, but they have embraced fully predictions market versus the other sports are. You can't say NFL. You have to say like professional football. You can't say Detroit Lions, but Detroit.
UFC stablecoin.
Hey man, SoFi can now white label and do that for you.
Yeah. But that was actually a real thing. Whenever we were watching the what's the name of the freaking team? Oh gosh, the Leafs game versus the Dodgers. The prediction
Blue
markets
Jays?
were changing in odds before
The
my
Blue Jays?
broadcast was.
The Blue Jays.
Did I say Leafs? Blue Jays versus the Dodgers.
Oh man.
The
Wow.
prediction odds were changing, so we knew
Dude,
We knew that the like something bad or good had happened before it happened.
I'm going to have to ask a question. Do the three of you know who Aaron Judge is?
Yeah.
of
I
course.
do know who Aaron
Thank
Judge is.
God.
Could I
Thank
point him
God.
out in a lineup? Maybe
Tanner, what sport is Aaron Judge in?
a baseball.
Basketball. Oh my
No.
God.
I did know. I did know.
Dude.
I did know. It was just a slip of the tongue. Now, on to bigger and better things.
This
Yeah,
is why you
I
wanted
got
to paywall this. This is why you're like, oh, no sports. I can't talk on this. Let's go behind the paywall, guys.
At the beginning of the show, I ripped a freaking hanger pack that I bought because I didn't want to rip the jumbo boxes. I didn't freaking get anything good. No bueno.
I bought PayPal today.
$62.
Yeah. Right around close, I ended up buying into PayPal. I don't know. And then even after I bought it, I'm like, is this going to outperform Nebius? I don't know. Like, I just can't help but buy a deal. Like, I love a deal. I cannot pass up a stock that I think is undervalued.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, my guess would be, well, I know the past performance has been absolutely lousy, but I really do think PayPal is going to do an all-time high by 2030. But yeah, maybe it's maybe people keep asking me like, "Are you buying more?" It's like, no, it's already my third largest position. It's been performing terribly, and it's oversized where it honestly should be anyway. It could increase dramatically, but that's on the stock actually increasing. I'll might add like here and there, but it's going to be very small increments. I just can't do that in a company. I think they're executing well, but man, I still think that quarter four probably will be the inflection point. But
can I give a shout
really good? What's that?
No, keep going. I'm actually going to bring it up.
Did you hear the fireside chat or go over the fireside chat with PayPal this week? Okay, yeah. Was any of that a factor as well, or was it mostly just like, okay, 62, like with $6 billion in buybacks and a small dividend, what are we doing?
No, I mean, it wasn't a big impact. I mean, I did listen to it and I'm like, yeah, everything sounds good. The only thing that I'm having troubles trying to factor in is like, what does giving someone 5% cash back? Like, let's say that is a super promotion and just goes absolutely viral for direct deposit users that are using the card and through PayPal checkout. They're getting these massive incentives. What does that do to the take rate in those geographies that you're deploying them?
Yeah, they're capped though. Limit of $100 with those 5 for your stash. And it's a very curated list. So, I mean, I don't know that, on the 5%, it's probably a loss leader type of thing just to get direct deposits. But I don't think it's like they're hemorrhaging money at that point.
That's fair. I didn't even know that it was capped. So,
can you do me a favor and bring up my thing?
Sure.
Shout out to Michelle who baked these cookies and is watching us. Those look freaking delicious, and I'm so jealous. So jealous.
I do love whenever people watch us on the TV.
Why wouldn't you watch us on the TV? We can watch us on a freaking tablet.
Oh, I just don't watch YouTube on the TV. Like it's always.
That's all I watch YouTube on.
No, it's always on my computer.
Why? You don't want to lay down on the couch and watch All In or something?
No, if I'm on the couch, I'm with my girlfriend and she's not watching anything that I'm watching on YouTube unless it's like
All In.
Yeah. I mean, she's forced to if I'm driving the car, then which is, anytime we're leaving the house, not very often for me.
Roy, did you hear All In today?
No.
Oh, you're gonna love it. They talked about Palantir quite a bit.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check out that one.
You're gonna have to check it out.
Back in 2023, like we were wondering, because they were mentioning a lot of the different AI vectors, and it seemed like that they were just choosing to ignore and overlook Palantir completely. And yeah, they've done a pretty big pivot since then. So
Oh, you're talking about the Palantir part? Chamath says it's pretty bullish. However, the only thing that I would say is that he talked about holding it in private rounds,
Right.
and then now he doesn't hold it, but it's an obvious purchase, is what he said.
Well, he said there's no competition. is
Yeah,
what he
well,
said.
bro, you were holding it at Series
And
B.
he said shorting it is insane. He said a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't particularly like Chamath, but yeah, I mean, like, he's not an idiot.
Well,
I mean,
he sold. Like,
This is what I had said to Amit earlier. I said, there's a camp of people who don't like him. There's a camp of people that do like him. The bottom line is he has his ear to the ground. He understands private companies. He understands the markets. Most of all, he truly understands technology. And for him to say that is very bullish for Palantir.
no, I there's some people saying we all own Palantir. I'm fully aware, but I'm not like, I don't know. I think he was just catering to some people based on his comments because his actions are not matching his comments.
Well, the crux of it is MongoDB, from what he said, there's 100 products like it. Snowflake, there's many products like it. He said there's no products like Palantir's products.
Yeah, it's like Tesla.
And it's more of a validation about what a lot of people have been saying. Like, I truly thought that Fabric from Microsoft was going to be a real competitor or is a real competitor.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see him saying that there are none.
Yeah, that was like 2023 is wild because Google would announce something and people would like, look, it does exactly what Palantir does. And then you'd see something at a Microsoft, the Fabric and like the Synapse rollouts. That was such a disaster when it actually came out. And so like these big companies, like it's one of those things that any other like future iteration and growth that we hear, the big companies are really good at marketing themselves and marketing their products. And they have enough brand trust too that a lot of people will initially look at them and be like, "Oh man, these are great." Even Apple's probably the best out of all of them at doing that. Honestly, they're incredible because if they can get people to buy some weird knitted crocheted sock for $200, that's pretty impressive. But no, like this is.
How many do you think they made? They sold out. How many do you think they even made?
Probably like 1,000. It's forced demand or something.
As many as they sold is the answer.
From what I heard, a lot of the buying was actually from like Apple fanatics that are not even planning on opening the product. That they bought it and they're keeping it in the case or whatever.
Was it tequila?
Yeah, eventually. Just collecting it as Apple, like historic merchandise.
Yeah, with even some of their like terrible products, there's enough of an Apple following that probably there'll be an appetite for that, 10 years out. So we'll have to see.
Any commentary on the great and powerful Tom Lee and his terrible BMNR? No,
I think we need to go to after hours soon.
Well, can we touch on BMNR for like 2 minutes and then pivot and do more BMNR in the after hours and crypto too? And then
I definitely want to talk BMNR tonight.
Yeah. So new CEO, and he's got a name where there's apparently like 100,000 the people that are his name. So thankfully there was enough information I was able to look him up. He's an investment banker, VC type of guy. My take was, I think the signals that they're very confident they're going to hit the 5%. No issues or problems there. He's very good on the institutional side, which I know Tom Lee's already good, but like he's doing other things too. But I think more than anything, it signifies that he's going to be involved in the moonshot type of projects, like picking those. So, what do you guys think of the 3 board members and the new CEO?
I didn't look into them yet. I only saw the post about it, but I haven't gone through those names yet, the 3 of them.
Yeah, one of the board members I recognized and know a little tiny bit about him. The other 2 I didn't, and then I had never heard of the CEO before. But you don't always need it's kind of interesting because most of the other digital asset treasury companies, not most, but a good chunk of them have gone after very well-known people that are in Ethereum or in crypto. And Chai Tsang is a dude. I'm sure he's great. And this is like his list of achievements, by the way, Lehman Brothers. But I mean, there's some great people that work there. It doesn't mean that he's terrible or anything. But yeah, this was really interesting. And, that he was involved in the development of 250 unicorns, which is 1 billion plus valuation for startups, right?
To make a unicorn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1 billion. Okay, so yeah, so very good at this. Like he has a VC. It's a weird VC. Like if you look at the companies that they actually invested in, but a lot of Chinese connections, based in Hong Kong, HKSB, whatever that bank is called, for 10 years. So,
Tevis, how's the holding or commentary of BMNR?
I have a lot of fun stuff I have bookmarked and am organizing for a video tomorrow. So stay tuned. Lots of institutional accumulation, and BMNR is still accumulating. ETH, with the stock price falling to the place where it is. I mean, I bought more like today, literally today.
Kathy Wood ended up picking up like I think $5 million today.
Yeah, she's fairly bullish as well. There's lots of interesting things that are also happening. So, I haven't done too much deep reading on the new board seats and CEO. That's my plan for tomorrow morning. But I mean, I still believe in that mission. I think, Tom Lee is out here fielding some bearish commentary on X. If you were to take a look, there's a lot of people that are getting more critical of Tom Lee, let's say, as BMNR falls, and he's like, hey, still bullish as ever, and his price targets are still very aggressive for end of year. So I don't know. Like sometimes it pays to be a permabull, and sometimes you sound tone deaf, depending on how sustained this dip is going to be. But you're getting a good margin of safety, right? I think BMNR right now is trading like right around NAV. I think it's like 1.1 MNAV or something like this. So do you remember, was it you, Roy, that we talked about? Or maybe it was on this show last week. I think it might have been on Tuesday, because somebody asked, like, how low can BMNR go? Like, and we literally did the math of like, what was the MNAV to the actual NAV? And we said, it can go down to $33. Like, that's like where it goes. And it actually went there.
Yeah.
So,
it can go below MNAV.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Rationally, how low can it go? It can be
that's
sold off.
In like ETHZilla, it's trading chronically undervalued, and so they ended up selling some Ethereum. Now they're trading over MNAV due to that sell. So there's flexibility each way, but I would say BitMine is going to be very reticent to ever sell any Ethereum ever. They would have to be trading so far under MNAV that it just becomes stupid. But yeah, the nice thing about Ethereum is there is a value that, in which point, like, there are buyers out there, plenty of buyers. So there's real value there. It's just kind of surprising to see the weakness at Ethereum.
Yeah.
And I think it also just sends a very strong negative message to see an Ethereum treasury company sell Ethereum for whatever reason. Like, the entire concept is you do everything you can to stack fiat, or to spend fiat to stack crypto. If you're selling crypto, even if it is to buy back your shares, like, it plants a seed of doubt in the minds of your other shareholders to say, like, okay, well, if they sold already, what makes me believe that they won't sell again in the future?
Say that again, sorry.
Like, it wasn't good. It doesn't inspire confidence when your digital asset treasury company is selling their Ethereum for whatever reason. Because for me, I want to put my money in a treasury company that holds, spends fiat, even if they're taking out loans or whatever to buy back their shares, and stacks crypto, right? But if they're selling crypto, even if it is to buy back shares, then there's no guarantee that in the future they won't do that again.
Yeah, but then they're buying more crypto by buying back their own stock. Like if you sell, like if your entire business is built up of Ethereum, that's what you're a holding company for Ethereum.
Sure.
And you're
And
buying
you're
under
MNAV.
MNAV.
Yeah.
Then if you buy back that, you're buying back Ethereum that's cheaper than what you actually are housing on the books.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
think
they sold and bought back the stock.
I think this is a case where you're right in that, like, it can be very accretive, like it was for ETHZilla. It made sense, but also still the wrong move. So like SoFi, for instance, going back just real quick, they could launch predictions markets and just drive them and put them over everything, but that goes against getting their money right. Like it goes against everything like Anthony Noah talked about stood for. So it's accretive, beneficial as far as bringing money in, but also it harms like everything that they stand for and how they're perceived by others. And so I think for BitMine, they would have to be like just stupidly under MNAV for them to adopt that strategy. Could that happen? Probably not, but in a crypto winter, crazy things could happen. I don't think we're headed there yet, but we'll have to see.
That's fair. That's fair. That there's almost a mission statement, I guess.
Why would this might sound like a stupid question, but why would a digital asset treasury company ever sell, like ever have a premium to NAV? Like, what is that premium for?
Like their ability to move, their staking ability. Maybe there's institutions that can't acquire ETH on their own, so they end up putting it into BMNR instead.
You have none of these. Like maybe at some point these were real reasons, but today it's so accessible to buy like an ETF. And okay, sure, maybe for Ethereum it might make a little bit more sense because of the staking revenue generation, but for something like Bitcoin or something that doesn't produce passive income, then like why would you ever?
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the ones that don't make additional money, but also like I think it's the ability that they can add on to their MNAV. So, for example, an ETF, if you're buying $1,000 of ETH, you have $1,000 of ETH. That's the ETH might go up, but that's the amount of ETH that you're holding. In BMNR, that can accumulate over time. So what premium do you give to something that is stacking over time? What premium do you give to a business that's growing faster than other businesses?
Yep. Basically, it's an ARB play. So you're betting on that there's a differentiation between the NAV and what's actually what the share price is, and that'll be the norm more often than not. And I think in a bull market, that's a true thesis. It's played out very well for Michael Saylor's company. It's playing out as well for Tom Lee's as well.
So is the idea that if I'm buying at a premium to NAV, so let's say I have a 1.3 MNAV, right? Is the idea that I'm paying a premium today with the presupposition, with the idea that the company is going to buy more Ethereum and increase their NAV to eventually go at par?
Yeah, but then the next investor hopefully ends up thinking that as well at a higher price. That keeps it above 1 times MNAV. But yeah, if you look at that's why MNAV per share is the most important metric, and why
MNAV per share.
Yeah, because then that includes dilution. And like you can always bring up your net asset value by diluting. You can dilute by 99% and just add a ton of Ethereum, but that might not be good for the shareholder. So MNAV per share is what is the price of the Ethereum and how is that adjusted to how many outstanding shares there are. So it's inclusive of dilution.
Doesn't it just make logical sense to dilute as much as possible to get to parity with NAV? Like if I'm at 1.5 MNAV, shouldn't I dilute 50% so I go back to 1 to 1? Because
I think it's sort of a balancing act between not diluting too much while also buying
why
great
would I care? Let me dilute all I want, because no logical person would let this thing trade below MNAV below NAV for an extended period of time. So I can dilute 99%, and yet I'm like, it doesn't matter. I just have a million shares, but they still add up to the value of the NAV.
Yeah, but you also don't want to be trading. Like, it's fine to trade at 1 times MNAV, but you also do want to trade at a premium. So you don't want to every single dollar that goes in above 1 times MNAV to immediately be extremely dilutive.
So for a SoFi example, it's like when they raised it, when they did the dilution right after the earnings call a little over 3 months ago, versus if they did it at a higher level. Like, obviously, it's better when they do it at a higher level, and it's much more accretive. Likewise with BitMine and other digital asset treasuries, you can do it like at 1.01 MNAV and bring it right down to 1 every time. Instead, like, if you think there's always going to be, at least in a bull market, usually some sort of premium there's a certain threshold that you don't want to go below, because there may be opportunities that you want to be have some agility for. It's kind of like us having dry powder when there's a massive dip. It's like SoFi not lending all to their max and be capital constrained for their own personal lending. They want to have enough that they can be dynamic and agile. It's also why BitMine tends to carry some cash. I have not seen a Monday where they don't, because they want to be agile and deploy it. Because what's happened with a lot of the other digital asset treasuries is they run out of gas, they don't have cash, and they're under MNAV, and that puts you in a really awkward spot. You can get really creative, and some have, but you cannot dilute at that point because it is very dilutive since you're diluting underwater. And you also, you're just kind of stuck. You don't have money other than like what's coming with staking. So they've been careful not to do that. It'll be interesting to see what their strategy is now that they're under MNAV. Hopefully that'll be a brief thing and Ethereum will rebound. I don't know. Maybe we're in the 2000s.
Yeah. I feel like I need to ask these questions because like there must be logical answers. Otherwise, what's the point? Like, I know that people will buy at a higher value, like at a 1 point non-zero amount of MNAV premium to the NAV because of the prospects for that business to get cheaper Ethereum and staking and all of this stuff. But like, I want to sort of sound out a lot of these questions because it is a lot of financial engineering sort of in between. Shall we go to After Hours? I think Steve is going to sing in After Hours, so I hear.
Yes, I think Steve is singing in the After Hours. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join, hit the join button. You have to be subscribed in order to join. And it will not be a live stream, but it'll be a video posted tomorrow at noon. Thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate your time. Bye for now.
See everyone later.